It seems like ages ago since I went out last. Went out in the Lake District for the meetup for the Landscape Photography on YouTube UK Facebook group, and since then I just haven't had the chance. I went on holiday to Disneyland in Paris, and everything's just kind of just family work, catching up and that sort of thing. Haven't had the chance to nip out, and I didn't think I'd get out this weekend either. Was at my nephew's party, and my wife said, just sneak out, it's okay, get a few hours, so here I am. Anyone who's interested in Disneyland, I will put some photos at the end of the parade, just in case that floats your boat, you never know. So if you watch my channel, you may know that I've started a thing where I'm buying and reviewing lenses. Nothing fancy at the moment, just budget lenses, seeing how they get on and see what I think about them. The aim is to buy one, use it, sell it, so on and so forth. Hasn't really gone to plan. I keep buying lenses that I really like and keeping them. And today is no different. My most recent purchase is the 60mm macro lens, and so far I absolutely love it. So I'm going to find it difficult to part with this if I do at all. And with a bit of luck, I'm also going to enter the Landscape Photography on YouTube UK Facebook group October Challenge, which is foliage, and that was set by David Griffith. So please check out his channel. I believe it's up there in that corner. Fantastic photographer, great laugh. I think he's up to about 53 vlogs now, so well done, David.
Hello and welcome to the D Griff Gallery channel. I'm David Griffith, a landscape photographer living on Anglesey, North Wales. I'm lucky enough to be completely surrounded by some of the finest landscapes in the country. From the coast to the mountain peaks, my playgrounds are beaches, cliff tops, mountains, lakes and forests. And these are locations that draw landscape photographers from far and wide to shoot Snowdonia, the North Wales coast and Anglesey, reflecting the ever-changing seasons, light, weather and tides. So if you'd like to learn more about the well-known North Wales locations and maybe find out about some other spots you've never even heard of, then this is a channel for you.
So something a bit different today. Autumn's in full swing at the moment. I'm in the woods and I'm going to try and challenge myself to use a macro lens. And this macro lens, it's good for macro, but it's also good for portrait shots and just getting general 60mm shots. It is a great sharp lens, as you'd expect a macro lens to be. So they might not all be macro, but they will be using this lens, trying to concentrate on autumn colours, shapes and foliage, of course, for the challenge. So let's see how we get on. So the thing I love about macro photography is it forces you to get close and to make a composition out of something that you'd normally just walk by or you just look at and you think, that looks okay, but can I get a photograph out of it? I'm used to using a wide angle lens and I'm used to getting the whole scene in and making a composition with that. So looking really close, right in at something, is just completely different and I'm actually loving it. I've had some decent shots of this lens already. It's pin sharp as far as I can see and I can't fault it. I was really chuffed to get this lens for £100 because it's quite an old lens, but that doesn't matter. I mean, they say invest in your lens and it'll last you 20 years. So why not buy a 10-year-old lens or a 15-year-old lens? You've still got some good years out of it and they should last, they're built to last. So if you can get a cheap, good lens and your camera's got an onboard autofocus motor, fantastic. The D7100 does, so I can use autofocus on this lens. So basically I'm just trying to get some really good artistic shots, looking closer. Going in the woods can be quite daunting. They say you can't see the wood for the trees, it's just overload. It's difficult to find anything odd. So I'm hoping to look closer, look at shapes, look at colours and textures and pick out things that way. And I'm hoping that it will be easier than last year when I was in the woods and I did my autumn photography vlog then, link up above, because it's different. I was looking for something big to stand out. Now I'm going in and I'm looking for something small to stand out, looking for different compositions. So let's get going. Let's stop rambling, let's get on with it. So I've actually left the forest for a moment and I've come round to the side of the forest, and what I'm going for is a line of the side of the forest. There's a dead tree in the foreground and there's what looks like a castle in the background. It's actually not a castle. Someone's made their houses look like a castle on one side. Really strange. If you go around the other side, it's just a load of houses. But hey ho. So it looks okay in the frame anyway. So I'm getting the dead tree, the foliage, the different colours of autumn, and then I'm getting the castle house thing in the background. And I've taken one shot. I am using the macro lens. I've decided to stick with that, and I'm also taking some panos in order to get everything in that I need. So I'll either go for the one shot, which is the dead tree on the right with the castle, or I'll go for a pano, stretching it out a little bit. It's difficult because the sun keeps going behind some clouds and it's dipping behind the line of the forest now, so the foreground itself is quite in shade. So I was going to go back into the woods, but just looking at the field opposite, I found a statue in the middle of some trees. Now, there's a few cows in this field as well, and there's the trees have got lovely colours. There's a statue, and I just think there's a few trees that stand out, and I might be able to get a good composition here. So I'm going to have a little walk down, see what I can find, and see what we can work with. So I didn't have to walk far, I just came a little bit further up the hill. I'm right at the edge of the forest now, and the sun is directly this way, as you can probably see by my face. And it is casting some nice light at parts of the woodland, so I'm going to stick around here, get closer. It's obviously limited on what I can shoot, but hopefully there's enough for me to shoot to get some decent images. There's lots of pine cones on the ground, there's a few mushrooms, but they've all been eaten so far, so I've not found any mushrooms that I can actually take photographs of. There's a few interesting ferns, some of them dying, some of them brown, some of them green. So I'm just trying to get all those different textures, and also taking a few shots of just the trees in a line and trying to make some images with that. I don't know how they're going to turn out. Woodland, it's always a bit of a dark art. Whether I'm doing it right or not, I don't know.
Just what it was needed, clean in the blackest night, cloistered in injustice dead, and in the eyes of time, nobody is losing. The sparrows will be here by dawn.
Today was actually one of those days where I thought I'd planned everything okay. Charged my batteries, charged my drone, emptied my SD cards. The one thing I didn't do is bring my tripod. I brought my microphone, and I didn't bring the clip that clips it onto the camera, so that's kind of dangling loose above the camera now. I'm managing, it's not ideal. I'm out, it's great, the weather is fantastic. It's nice and warm considering we are starting to feel the chill in the air, but today's a nice day. I think it's going to turn pretty quick. We're already having cold days. Tomorrow is the 1st of October, so autumn will be well on its way. But so far it's okay. We've had a good year. We can't really complain, can we? It almost seems this year that autumn hit early. And it might have been something to do with July being really hot. Almost like what we'd get in August. And August wasn't so great. It was kind of like what you get in September. So it's almost like we're a month ahead of schedule. And that's what it feels like, I think. Obviously it's different up and down the country, but I think we've been feeling it. It's definitely had an early summer, and I think we're having an early autumn as well. So what do I think of this lens? I think it's amazing. I really do like it. I previously had the Sigma 70-300 lens, and that had a macro feature, and I thought that was great. What I'll do now, I'll show you a comparison shot, you taking it of two bugs using the 70-300 and a similar shot that I've used the 60mm prime, and you can see the difference in them. It's just outstanding. So as I said before, the idea was to buy lenses, review them and sell them. And that's not going too well because I'm just getting keepers now. So how is this going to work? Well, when I bought my backup camera, which is the one I'm actually vlogging on now because I couldn't find my GoPro, it came with a kit lens. And I sold that kit lens for £50. So that's gone into the lens pot. There was a little bit of money left over in there anyway, because I got such a good deal on the 55-200 lens. So hopefully I'll get something reasonable for next time. I don't really know what kind of lens is going to take my interest next though, which is why I haven't bought one yet. Obviously I wanted a macro one, the 80-200. Yeah, I've kind of got all the ranges covered. Maybe another wide angle lens, and I can test it against the Tokina 11-16, because I love that lens, and maybe see if a cheaper one compares to it. Who knows? I guess it depends what's for sale at the time when I've got the money and I'm looking to do the next review. So it's been a little bit of an odd one this week. I've only came into the woods a little bit. It's a pine wood mainly, and there's not a lot that I can see that's going to be different. I was hoping for maybe mushrooms, more interesting foliage, but it's very samey. The light is dropping, so I'm going to call it there, I think. I've got a few interesting shots. I will show some more shots using this lens. And again, if you're interested in Disney, at the very end I'll show you some Disney shots as well. How about that? So do you do macro photography? And what lens do you use? Please let me know down below. Maybe give me a link to your Flickr pages or something with some macro inspiration. I'm just getting into it, so it's been interesting. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. And please give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video. And feel free to comment below what you thought. So that's it really. I'll see you next time.
I wanna go there someday. I know we're going somewhere into the danger zone. It all points right to that. I set myself aside